I would like to take a couple minutes and look at the tight ends. I would also like to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs currently have 7 tight ends signed to their 90-man roster, and we know the Kansas City Chiefs want to take 4 tight ends into the season. Who wouldn't? And they are going to have to do some calculus at the bottom end of the roster to figure out exactly which players they're going to keep. I have a favorite for what I believe will be the one spot that's kind of open towards the beginning of the season. And I will talk about that in a moment. But let's get into things with these players. At the top of the screen there, Jake Briningstool, 6'6", 240, 22 years old. Then we have Kevin Fulsch, who is reportedly has been cut and replaced by Jorquarius Spivey, who was brought in as a part of a mini camp tryout, but the team was already familiar with Spivey. Then you have Noah Gray, who will be on the team, 6'3", 240 pounds, 26 years old, is more of an H-back type player, has been very versatile for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially over the last couple of years. Then you have obvious first ballot Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce, 6'5", 250, 35 years old. So whatever you can find for his 40-yard dash, whatever you can find for his vertical leap, whatever you can find for his broad jump, reps on the bench press, doesn't matter anymore. Robert Tonyan then is 6'5", 240, 31 years old. Trey Watson, 6'5", 250. I believe he is 23. I believe that is how old Trey Watson, or 22. I can't remember exactly. At one point, I went back and did the math, but it's not on the website there. And then you have Jared Wiley, who is 6'6", 249, 24 years old. Again, from this list, apparently, Kevin Fulsch has been cut, waived, and Jorquarius Spivey was signed as a replacement for him, leaving the Chiefs still with the 7 tight ends. I'm tongue-tied here for some reason. Don't make any jokes about that. Travis Kelce and Noah Gray are obviously on the team. Jared Wiley is on the team as well down here, but there is growing speculation that he will begin the season on IR after that injury that ended his rookie season. What this means is that the Chiefs like to carry 4 tight ends. So there is one spot open for sure. You have Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, Jared Wiley. There is that 4th tight end spot open on the 53-man roster should the Chiefs elect once again to carry 4 tight ends into the regular season. But if you have Jared Wiley begin the season on IR, it's a weird hand symbol to be talking about tight ends. Shouldn't have done that. That would leave you with 3 tight ends if Jared Wiley is on the temporarily disabled list. So that would mean you have a 4th spot, a 5th tight end to take on to the roster, and I think you're looking at a guy who's going to be on the practice squad as well. So the Chiefs like to keep a tight end on the practice squad. So it is possible that 3 names out of Jake Briningstool, Robert Tonyan, Jorquarius Spivey, and Trey Watson will be on the team in one fashion or another. It is possible that 3 out of those 4 guys make the roster somehow. I think likely 2 of those guys are going to make the roster, because even if I don't think that they are going to keep the spot open for a practice squad tight end should Jared Wiley begin the season on IR. They will use that additional roster spot for a different position, and say they carry Trey Watson into the year. They will waive Trey Watson and kind of bank on the fact that he's going to pass through waivers because he's a young guy and who's going to claim him at that point in the season. So then they would kind of figure out what they have on their practice squad. Do they want to add Trey Watson to the practice squad or keep the players there that they have? I don't think 3 of those names will make the team. I think 2 of those names will make the team, and I have my favorite among them. The prohibitive favorite, of course, is Jake Briningstool, and he has caused a little bit of buzz. In an article titled Chiefs OTAs featured 2 rookie standouts amid veteran absences from Heavy.com, tight end Jake Briningstool brought in a touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes within the 10-yard line. Sweeney also reported that another Briningstool catch from Mahomes, which Nick Jacobs of KSHB41 described in more detail. Mahomes dropped one into the basket to Jake Briningstool. Jacobs wrote on X, tight coverage by linebacker Nick Bolton, and Briningstool tracked it perfectly. So there has been a lot of talk about Jake Briningstool and whether or not he will be on the roster. He is, of course, the prohibitive favorite to make the roster. I think he does make the roster. If Jared Wiley starts the season healthy, Jake Briningstool, in my opinion, will be the 4th tight end. The Chiefs have been known to keep extra tight ends in the past, and this is the article still, pardon me. The Chiefs have been known to keep extra tight ends in the past, and who knows if Wiley will start this season on some sort of injured list. Plus, with Kansas City moving on from 2024 UDFA Baylor Cup unexpectedly this spring, I liked Baylor Cup. I thought he was going to be able to do some things that the Chiefs don't have a guy for to do those things. The tight end depth chart is relatively open behind Kelce and Noah Gray, and the Chiefs must start thinking about the future at this position. So, in my opinion, even if Jared Wiley begins the season on the IR, there are 2 spots for tight ends. 1 spot after you accept the fact that Jake Briningstool is going to be a Kansas City Chief in 2025. So we're going to look a little bit at Jorquarius Spivey, Robert Tonyan, and Trey Watson. So here's Jorquarius Spivey. His RAS is a 5.2. 6'4.5", 238 pounds. I believe he's in the 240s now. 15 bench press reps. So you're not looking at a powerful blocker, but 33.5-inch vert is a decent number. 10-foot 1-inch broad jump is a good number. A 4.58 40-yard dash is a good number. A really good number if you're 6'4", 240. 10-yard split of 1.63 is a good number, but those agility scores are not all that great. 4.77 is a 0.55 out of 10, and a 7.45 3-cone drill is a 2.68 out of 10. You have to take into account that in addition to being 6'4.5", he also has nearly 10-inch hands and 33 and an 1/8-inch arms. So he is a long athlete. This is another tight end that is more in the receiving tight end mold. Then we have Trey Watson. Just real briefly here, with Jorquarius Spivey, I don't know if I mentioned this, the total RAS score is 5.2. Then you have Trey Watson out of Texas A&M, a UDFA this season, 6'4", 247 pounds. I believe he's now listed at he's probably legitimately over 250 now. Benches 225 pounds 19 times. It's a decent number. A 35-inch vertical leap, that's a good number. A 10-foot 4-inch broad jump, that's a very good number. A 4.68 40-yard dash, another good number. And then you have a 10-yard split at 1.64, which is a decent number. A short shuttle of 4.5, which isn't a great number, but again, these numbers are often skewed because guys who aren't going to do well in the agility numbers just don't run them. And then the 3-cone drill of 7.14 scores 7.23 out of 10. So you have a guy here that is very explosive and has some straight line speed. In addition to that, The video I made on Trey Watson for his UDFA video, one of the things that I kept saying was I couldn't believe the guy was 6'4", 247. You remember when we were small, we were young, I'm assuming you're around my age, and you saw the WWF guys walking around, and they just looked so big. That's how Trey Watson looks on the field. Trey Watson looks like a very large man on the football field. Now, 6'4", 250, that's good sized. He looks way bigger than that. And I don't know that I noticed him really being a dominant blocker, but he is a guy who uses his size well. He is a guy who is very intelligent with especially kinesthetics. I think I used that word right. So the angles that he's putting on things on the field, the way that he's following through with things. If he were an offensive lineman, I would say it looked like he was a former wrestler. I don't know that he necessarily has that type of physicality to him, but he does look to be a very physical guy. And the Chiefs don't have a dominant blocker among their tight ends. I think that Trey Watson could be a good blocker. I don't know that he could be dominant, but he definitely looks like he could be. So Travis Kelce's very good at getting in the way. He's been a very good guy at getting in the defender's way and making it difficult for that guy to make the play. I think that Trey Watson has the potential to do that plus. I think he can be a little bit better than a little bit more effective than Travis Kelce has been. And finally, we have Robert Tonyan, who has scored an 8.54 in 2017. Remember, he is an older guy. 6'4", 236 pounds. I guess he's in his 240s now, I think. 4.58 40-yard dash. A 1.53 10-yard split, which is elite. 38-inch vertical, which I would never have guessed from seeing him on the field. 10-foot-5-inch broad jump, elite numbers. All of these numbers are very good. He scored an 8.54, which is the second best, or the first best, but we have 8.45 from Trey Watson here. Now, who would I like to see make the Kansas City Chiefs out of this group? I really like Trey Watson. Robert Tonyan is a veteran. Probably he has the edge here. If you're talking about a guy who is going to be on the roster temporarily, you want someone who is going to be able to do the things that you're asking them without a whole lot of instruction. So if in the case that the season starts and Jared Wiley is on IR, Jake Briningstool is your third tight end, then I think that Robert Tonyan makes a lot of sense to have as your fourth tight end. But if I were just going from a standpoint of building a roster, I would bring in Trey Watson. He is a guy that in the video I made for him as a UDFA signing, he really takes advantage of the flats. One thing that he is very good at doing that I think we have seen Andy Reid get a little bit away from, and I don't know if it's by design or if it's because he doesn't feel he has the personnel to do it, the tight end motioning behind the quarterback pre-snap, the moment the ball is snapped, heading upfield like 2 steps and flooding out into the flat. Or lining up on the line of scrimmage and basically just gliding in front of the linebackers and behind the defensive line. Trey Watson is very good at doing both of those things. He has a unique type of athleticism to him. When you're watching him, you don't feel so the way I usually kind of say this is he just looks like a tight end. You remember back to the 90s what tight ends looked like back then. He looks like that guy. You think about the receiving tight ends from the 90s. He looks like that guy. Not the bulky tight ends who were basically an offensive tackle that couldn't eat a fifth meal per day. He's not Tony Gonzalez, right? But that class of tight end who was a receiving tight end. Guys who were kind of bigger, a little bit bulkier, They're not real sharp at cutting, but when they round off their route, they're open. And that's what Trey Watson is. And I would like to see, so I hope that he makes either the initial 53 as the fourth tight end or the practice squad. He becomes the practice squad tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that he has the athleticism to do it. However, I think Robert Tonyan has the inside track to do it. And I think that Jorquarius Spivey, there's something about Jorquarius Spivey that makes them keep bringing him back, right? So that has to be recognized. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something there that they like. And that could be, he could have the inside track. Anyway, guys, that is what I have to say about the tight end position for the Kansas City Chiefs. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not signed, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.